Welcome back to the Bowzone. I'm here with Jim Thompson. Jim, you made a great shot on a deer.
Oh, I think I smoked him good.
Bucks are definitely moving. You can tell they're visiting scrapes. Just a matter of time. Just looking for the right one to come by tonight. Fingers crossed.
As far as everyone else on the show, I think the activity's really picking up the last few days, so I think there's going to be some big ones going down.
Welcome to the Bowzone, where the big bucks roll. Draw back, let it fly, watch those endless sky high.
Bowzone, a How to Hunt series powered by Argo, is brought to you by Argo XTV, Go Anywhere. Escape Trailer, built for you. Zeiss, confidence in the toughest conditions. And these fine sponsors.
Welcome back to the Bowzone, a How to Hunt series powered by Argo. I'm here with Jim Thompson, and there can only be one reason that one of us are here. As we talked about, we bring somebody in after something happened. We're not going to get too much into that. But yeah, it's an exciting time. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Hey, good morning, Zach. Welcome. Thanks for having me in studio. I know it's a different format this year. I've been watching yours and Ryan's podcast. It's actually a really good. It's like sitting with Joe Rogan, for goodness sake. So I appreciate you guys inviting me in. Yeah, we've had a pretty good fall this year. Mm-hmm. Like for most people, in November, because there hasn't been a lot of snow and a lot of cold weather, it seems to be more nocturnal activity on the cameras. Mm-hmm. Though it's starting to pick up the last few days, we've been seeing some, and I know you'll probably want to talk about the red moon and different things and activity, but even in our cameras, we're starting to get more activity between 10 and 2 in the afternoon, mm-hmm. you know? So I did put a question out on the Bowzone chat a while ago, how many people see bucks in this peak rut period between 10 and 2, because there's some all day sitters, right? Yep. I know I usually always break for lunch sometime because I'm not that committed to it, right?
I don't know.
But how about you? Do you usually sit all day?
I've been taught by Gunther and Ryan, but I think specifically Gunther, and Gunther's a hard man on this, and you sit all day.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen. And I'm not going to get too much into him, but he's had some situations this year where he left, and props to Gunther for being a family man and coming out when things are important. But there's some deer that showed up when he left his stand between 11 and 2. So when you talk about a 10 to 2 window, after seeing his heartbreak, so to speak, I would argue stay in the stand. And talking with clients, we have a lot of clients that we guide in the Bowzone. And that time of year, especially now, when you start to see those does run out and those bucks making those longer morning runs, that's going to start going into your 11, 12, 1 o'clock times. So I'm an all-day sitter as much as I can. Sometimes, hey, if you only got an hour, you got a couple hours, you got a morning, take full advantage of that. But for me, hunting, I almost feel bad. Like there's a guilt inside of me when I'm leaving, and I'm like, man, I'm climbing down my tree stand, I'm looking out in the woods, I'm nervous because I'm like, I'm spooking one. I know I'm spooking one. Yeah. But it's tough, right? It is a grind. But I think if you just look back, and it's good to have a group, and it's nice having the Bowzone chat and talking with guys, because when someone goes, hey, I had a midday cruiser, right? Or somebody pipes in, you see a 12 o'clock time stamp, right? And you're like, that's why you sit.
Yeah, and it does motivate you to do that. Yeah. Because you do get in there, you know, that first couple hours in the morning, you're on pins and needles, right? And, you know, every squirrel sounds like a buck coming, you know, especially ruffled grouse. They sound the most.
The
right? They pick their way through the bush. So you get going, and then you have that lull, and then you tend to, well, I'm going to get out of my stand, and I'm going to maybe cut some branches. I'm going to do something. I'm going to, you know, then get back in my stand, or maybe I'll just walk around my stand, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're always like, is this the good time to go or not, right?
Well, I had a coyote that I shot at, which, you know, you could argue you shoot coyotes when you're hunting, but I was like, I'm shooting this coyote, and it ducked my arrow, and I'm sitting there staring at my arrow, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I should go get that. And then I'm like, man, do I go get it? Do I? But I actually ended up going and getting it. And yeah, I mean, it is, I think a lot of it is in your head though, right? Like it's, I was talking with a friend of mine who needed some motivation after a deer might have busted him. Yeah. And I was like, dude, just get out there, right? It's the rut. You could have that deer come back, could have another deer come back. It's prime time. He goes back for lunch, sulks a bit, comes back in the stand and kills a giant buck. Like we're talking 170-inch deer. And he's like, man, thanks. I'm like, hey, it's not me. It's in our heads, right? Just stay in there, get in the stand. And we're going to come back, and you're going to see what happens with Jim, what happened when you sat and ended up killing a really nice buck. Stay tuned.
Okay, so I'm out here hunting this morning. Dropped off a couple of buddies with spots to sit. So got in here a little bit after daylight here. Been sitting for about an hour. And I did see one deer walk by about 80 yards away from me. I'm just on a scrape line. According to Kevin Wilson, primary scrapes are where you want to be. So I'm on a good scrape. So just sitting here, hoping that something comes by. I think I smoked him good. He was like 15 yards. I was literally getting out of my stand. I just put my bow, my sling. I was gonna go down with my saw. I had my saw out, and I was just gonna go cut a branch out of a lane there, like right where he came from. And then all of a sudden I heard a snap, and he's coming in, and he did a scrape, and he started coming right at me. And I managed to get my bow off the sling, get an arrow on. Then my camera wasn't on the right spot, and I almost dropped my arrow. But anyways, he was so busy trying to set up his scrape and check his scrape, he didn't notice me. And then I let him have it. It looked good, 15 yards. I mean, I should hope I'd hit him in the boiler room from there. But yeah, that's exciting. He came from over there, did another scrape. There's my arrow. It looks like he's painted pretty red. There's my Grim Reaper, 2-inch. Pretty exciting, pretty exciting. There's some blood. And then there's some more blood. He's pouring out. Grim Reapers. Oh, there he is. He's right there. I'll just back off and give him some time. He's in rough shape. Okay, so I don't know if I got that buck in that picture, but I was blood trailing him. I only gave him 5 minutes because I thought I double lunged him hard, but he went about 60 yards and he bedded up. Then he got out of his bed and he started walking slowly, and he wanted to bed again. So I thought I'll just back out. I gotta get a toboggan and get him out of the bush. So I'll give him an hour, come back here. It's it's -2. It's meat's gonna be good. So got that, tons of blood. Yeah, I watched the video back. It's a good hit. So I got too excited. I should have given him more than 5 minutes. So I'll just back out, get the toboggan, and come back here with some help, and we'll do the recovery. So I bumped him up. You saw that. I went and got Jordan, my son-in-law. We came in, and Jordan spotted him. From where we last saw him, he turned and went 50 yards. And that's him right there. So we're gonna walk on him now. So he was hit hard. Well, here he is. He just laid right down. Shot looks good. Double lung. Maybe single lung. I don't know. Nice dark antlers. He's been fighting. Broke one off. There he is. Big body on him though. He was standing there just doing a scrape, and I tucked the arrow into him. And probably from where we shot him and that, he's probably about, honestly, 100 yards as the crow flies. But yeah, nice chocolate buck. Nice tight rack. Going to 130s, I bet. Anyways, now we can get him out, buddy. This is the target buck that I've been chasing this year. I got pictures of him in the summer and early in the fall, and then I hadn't seen him. So I thought, maybe someone else got him. So yesterday I shot, an average pooping young buck. And who shows up on my camera last night but the big 5 that I was after. So hopefully he makes it to next season, but it's just hilarious that he shows up right after he knows my tag is filled. They're very smart.
Welcome back to the Bowzone. As we just saw, Jim, you made a great shot on a deer, and to see that blood trail, I mean, I could talk so much, but the blood trail was what sticks out to me right away. It looked like a line, not drops, but it looked like a straight line. And you mentioned your broadhead had a bit of a bigger cutting diameter.
Yeah, it did. I switched over just 2 years ago. It's got 3 blades that open to 2-inch, and man, the amount of blood, you know what I mean? And they do still pound through ribs and bone really well. Like they're a good solid head. But it's just like following a can of paint that you just spilt on the ground. So even when you get a marginal shot on them, it leaves a lot of blood. So
yeah,
and that's kind of the trick, right? You know, if you punch both lungs, you're always going to find your animal. But I know there's been some discussion on our chat about amount of broadheads. Some broadheads leave more blood than others. Sure. So I thought I kind of posted it on the chat, and I kind of emphasized it on the video to show that this is a really good broadhead.
Yeah, I think as bow hunters, we always try to pick the best broadhead and for the best situation, but unfortunately we have enough of those bad situations that happen, and that's the difference of a ½ inch or not, right?
Yes.
I mean, the buck I'm after, if I was using a bigger broadhead, maybe I would have killed it.
Yes.
Right. So you're looking for those broadhead to give you the best shot in those marginal shots, right?
100%, and that's what you want to do. And this one here, like you'll see in the video, like he was only 15 yards away, and he just basically ignored every stupid thing I did because I was literally climbing out of the tree with my.
We were just talking about that.
I know.
So you were clearing some lanes.
Yeah, I was gonna like right where he came from. There's a tree there. If you see in front of him, I was gonna cut that down because I go, oh man, that could really block my eye. And I just turned and I started edging out. Luckily, I had my bow in my sling because I always go out of the tree with my bow in my sling. So I'm down on the ground and I see a buck coming, then I can get ready, right? And because I've done that before. So then, I was just climbing down, and I looked over here, snap, and he's coming. So I edge back up the tree, get on my thing, my pack's sitting on my stand. I sit on my pack on the stand, and then I basically get the bow off the sling, get it on, and then he lucky he was just making a scrape. He was preoccupied, and then as he's coming in, I look down. I thought, okay, I'm gonna take him right now. I look down. He's walked out of my camera frame, right? If you're self-videoing, you know what that's like.
That's tough to stop. Let down, adjust the bow when you're already committed. That's a tough
It is
move.
tough, and he's at 15 yards. The only thing that saved me is he was scraping the ground, and then he started rubbing the trees, and it kind of created some background noise, and I was kind of screening good against some evergreens behind me. Yeah. And that's what it is. And I said, oh my God, well, if he lets me get the full draw, I'm taking this buck. Not the biggest buck. I've shot lots bigger than that, but he'll go into 130s, and I'm limited on time in the latter part of November, so I thought if I could get one now, that's good. I am going to go up that my target buck that we talked about earlier, my target buck has showed up again on camera after being gone for a month and a half. And so he's been up there 5 nights in a row. So I got a buddy of ours, Steve, he's coming up. I'm going to run video for him, and we're going to tweak a couple stands and try to hunt him this weekend and see if we can get him in here. But he's a dandy buck, and so we still got time to get him. So I'm going to see if I can get some luck.
You're a pretty good friend to have a big deer like that and throw your friend up in there. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, we're pretty good. There's a group of us that hunt up there, and it's just north of the Bowzone. We hunt the Bowzone too, and my son Taylor's got some time off, so he's obviously part of the show, and I'll be doing some hunting with him too. I told him I'll run some video, so we've done that over the years.
I know there might be a bit of strategy when there's a big pack out. You mentioned you got a bit of haul. That's when you bring your friends in.
Yeah.
Is that your son-in-law helping out?
I know. It was my son-in-law. I just got married, and that was his first time being on a kill. He's taken a doe before, and he was all excited that him and his buddies works out of Edson. He's a fish and wildlife officer, and they were up there hunting at my place, and so they were excited. They saw some deer, but nothing big that they wanted to get. But that was great. Got them both to haul it out. They're like I had my own sled dogs there because I was about 400 yards back in some pretty gnarly bush.
Yeah. And you basically get to keep hunting, so to speak. This time you're living vicariously through your friend Steve. Even though you're tagged out. You get to watch hopefully the story end with your target buck.
We got some good story on that. So
and you said he's been there recently a handful of times now.
Yeah, the last 4 evenings in a row he's been there, just around just after legal light. So we're going to probably move back the stand a little bit and try to set up on that. But anyways, but as far as everyone else on the show, I think I think the activity's really picking up the last few days. So I think there's going to be some big ones going down.
Well, what I've noticed, we run a handful of cameras through myself and some other friends, and we're able to share them, and you get to kind of see trends, right? If in the morning it's slowing down, or in the evening it's picking up, and you can kind of see it across. I even have some friends in northern Alberta, and it's interesting to see the parallels with slow here, slow kind of everywhere. But that being said, with every consistent thing that we talk about in hunting, there's usually something else that like goes against it, right? So you're like, hey, I got a pattern, I figured it out, and then something else goes off, and you're like, wait, what do I know?
I'm sure it won't go according to script when we sit there the next couple of days, but you just never know, right?
Well,
You gotta try.
Speaking of that, Kevin and Mr. Blair ended up having some success when we come back. Stay tuned for that.
Second day in the stand. Wind is a little different today, so I moved. Hopefully we can get something going. Hey. So I think my target buck for this area, I think he's down. Set up here just before light and just was doing my odd grunt and then a little bit of rattling and mostly quiet. And yeah, he came circled downwind, but thankfully the wind stopped and he came to within 20 yards. If this was a private ranch, I would let him go another year or two. But with public land and limited days, he's still a mature buck, and yeah, I'm glad the opportunity to take him. A lot of work into the scouting, and I've seen him a couple times on the cam before. I think he just ran about 70 yards. I think he's piled up just on this next hill. I'm gonna give him another 15 minutes, but he tried to get up and then fell back down, so I think he's done for. So it's been about 90 minutes. I thought he went down about 100 yards away, but I thought the same thing last year, and I went a little early and bumped him. So I'm just gonna go up and check the blood trail and track him, and hopefully we found a down deer. There's some well blood. That's the first good blood I've seen. Oh, there he is. After losing out yesterday on my number 1 buck to a rifle hunter, this guy was number 2. Probably would have been a pretty awesome buck next year, but with the competition where I'm hunting, he's a mature buck. I sort of have trouble passing him over. Anyway, got a little work to do here. We'll get her done. It is November 12th, and it's later in the afternoon. There's bucks moving. They're not hot and heavy yet, but they're moving, definitely. Heather just text messaged me and she said that she just had a pretty decent one come by. I guess no shot opportunity. But it's really warm. We're just right on the cusp. The estrus is just kicking into gear. And bucks are definitely moving. You can tell they're visiting scrapes. Just a matter of time.
I think I just filled my whitetail tag. I just heard him go down right there. He's not wide load, but he's a great deer. All right, well, I've got literally a day and a half left, and I have to go sheep hunting. And this buck came by. I actually looked at him, and he gave me just such beautiful video, and he was framed okay, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take him, and I did. I'm pleased. He's a really nice representative whitetail. I'm tickled with him, so there he is, 225 in the bag.
Welcome back to the Bowzone. I'm here with Jim, and we just saw some sweet footage there. Kevin, no stranger, so consistent. Blair, awesome deer. I don't think he touched on it, but right away I saw the Coyotes had got to it. He waited a bit, but it looked like the Coyotes, I think he said in the group chat, the Coyotes got to it already, but that was only like an hour and a half, which I think is crazy. Maybe it just has to do with the wind or what? I mean, have you ever had a situation like that?
Oh yes, those in the Bowzone especially, and I know he's near the Bowzone too when he's hunting. The coyotes around here are as thick as thieves, right? And if they can't get any of that scent, we've had that many a time. It's a catch-22. If you wait too long, or depending on your shot.
What is the standard time? What would you suggest?
Like I would honestly give it a half an hour.
Give it a half
That's
hour.
generally what we do, right?
Yeah.
I think a half an hour is pretty solid if you know you made a really good hit. It doesn't hurt usually, and you can usually hear if the coyotes are coming in at that time, right? But if you go away and come back, which is what I think he did, and then the coyotes have a chance to get in there, right? Like if you find them and then you go away, like you're probably well aware of that. I usually leave a jacket hanging there or something that has a little human scent that keeps them nervous. Right?
Yeah, and one thing, there's a term I heard, I think maybe Gunther said it once, is when in doubt, back out.
Yes.
And because if there's any time that's a marginal shot, and like you said, unless you see it go down, but I mean, it doesn't usually hurt waiting an hour, waiting 2 hours, right? Because if you bump a deer, say a liver shot, that's going to be live for 6 hours potentially. I mean, that deer's going to run maybe into permissions that you don't have, or into an area that is now going to maybe have more coyotes, and then you lose your deer altogether.
Yes, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to just, want to be very cautious if you can, right? Like sometimes, like if it's raining or something like that, where you're worried about you losing blood. One of the good things now, I guess, that we do have access to in the Bowzone now is we have the ability to get a tracking dog, right?
Yeah.
Which helps, especially will help a lot of hunters if need be. Not a lot of hunters, but some hunters, right?
Yep.
Especially if someone hits something really nice. That's probably the best thing to do is always back off, give it some time, because as long as they don't feel like they're being pursued, they're just not going to go far, right? But if you just keep bumping them,
It's not good. I did that.
Yeah, they can get pushed right.
My very first deer, I pretty sure had a liver shot. He stayed around for a while, and I should have waited. So I say this from experience of doing the wrong thing and now learning, which is the best lesson. One thing that I saw Kevin had similar to you guys are both hunting off of primary scrapes. I know Kevin's always about the community scrapes, and I think everybody should be. Sometimes, I mean, like we're talking this was November 12th, I believe, is when he killed.
Yes.
Which I think deer are still pretty active on those. Give some more insights. Why are you sitting on a primary scrape?
Because Kevin Wilson told me to sit there.
Whatever Kevin says, we do.
Yeah, Kevin's pretty good at scrapes, right? I always didn't hunt scrapes much at all because I always found that they were like an earlier indication. Like once I got into mid-November, I like to hunt areas where my camera's been showing that bucks are traveling through, like travel corridors. So that's what I primarily did. But this time I decided, I'm in an area that has corridor, and my goodness, it has a really good primary scrape, right? Mm-hmm. So as I called out to Kevin in there, thanks for the tip, buddy, because I sat there and that buck came in and he worked that primary scrape, same thing that Kevin had.
That worked out so well.
So now I'll be another apostle of Kevin Wilson and be out there praising the primary scrape from mid-November. But we'll see. But right now, I think they're getting a little bit more erratic. Like they're chasing and running around more. Maybe your cameras are showing it too. They're just not on the scrapes. They're just after does.
I agree. I think what I'm seeing too a little bit is sometimes I see a doe come to a scrape.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, which you usually don't see in the early seasons, it's usually bucks touching up scrapes. But now a doe will hit a scrape, and then shortly after that, bucks will come back in after. It's almost like she's kind of communicating, hey, something's happening. Or maybe that's just the natural progression of a doe walking by and then a buck walking by. But something that's definitely different from the mid-season is what I'm seeing is bucks are still touching up on scrapes. But yeah, I mean, as the does start running out from what needs to be bred, I mean, those bucks are making some miles, literal miles, looking for those next one.
And they are. And you know what you said, when a doe comes in and they hit it, like they hit a scrape and makes them. We'll get it on camera lots of times, and then you'll wait and you see, well, no buck came by. But in reality, I've sat there before and I've seen a doe come in and hit a scrape, and I'll see the buck come down his normal travel, and he's scent checking. like he may not come in the camera, but he'll come by the scrape and he'll smell that area. And if she's not, say, at that level, he doesn't swing into the scrape. Sometimes he'll walk by several scrapes before he decides to stop by one particular scrape. So it's not always a guarantee that just because you don't see the buck following the doe on camera that he's not around that area. Like he still might be working that, but he's working the downwind side. So
interesting.
Yeah.
No, I mean I don't know. I think some people always say just stay on the does the second half of the season, right? If you have does coming in and out on a food plot. But yeah, anything can happen. That's the exciting time of this year, right? This time of season. And when you guys are watching this, it's November 19th. Not everybody's tagged out. You guys are going to see this later in December, which hopefully I'm tagged out, and hopefully your target buck is killed by your good friend Steve, which you're
get it on camera,
way too nice of a guy to put him on such a big deer. But I hope that works out. So stay tuned. Coming up, we're going to be seeing some recaps of other people that are still out there hunting.
What's going on? Oh, hello. Good morning.
Well, you know it's going to be a good day when you're already seeing cats and you haven't even got to the tree stand yet. Little known fact, this is where I hit story time 2 years ago. And then ended up killing a nice buck on the same stand, and story time is back. So November 10th, I think today. Gonna go sit this morning. Already saw my cat. It's a good day.
Yes. What's going on? Come here, Anthem. Oh my goodness.
There's many sounds in the whitetail world, and that is my favorite. I live for that noise. I deliberately hunt to hear that blowing noise come from a deer's mouth. It's my favorite. If you're not hearing deer blowing, are you hunting? Are you really hunting? So, that's my tip of the day. That's how to hunt. How not to hunt. It's a freaking wind. I also that freaking storm wheeze. He did not like that storm wheeze. That was all sarcasm, by the way, in case you didn't catch that. You don't want that noise. You want them to walk in grunting, and then you shoot them.
Just put in some tree steps. I don't know if you can see them right behind me up there. Kind of a last minute speed set. Have a buck that's traveling through on the other side of the field. There's a thin strip of bush. And I'm pretty sure that's a buck travel route. There's a big scrape on the field side, and I didn't have a stand here. I have one a little farther down, but I think they're missing it. So I got in right now, put it in. It's a windy day, covering a little bit of my sound. And I'm gonna sneak out and hunt this very soon, maybe even tonight. I think this spot's gonna rock. Well, I'm in at the rub post. It's 20 yards away. It's been getting hammered by all different bucks. Just looking for the right one to come by tonight. Fingers crossed. Check it out.
Hey, welcome back to Bowzone. I'm sitting here with Zach. We've just been watching some more packs as they call them, some videos of that some of the hunters have provided. Zach, you provided yours. You had some really nice bucks on there this year. You had one bedded 10 yards from you, and then you did some calling that maybe worked and didn't work. Like, kind of tell me your strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think for everything I think I have figured out, there's something that happens that realizes that I'm still so new to this. But yeah, that snort wheeze, I was just trying to see what would happen, and that buck was kind of actually off by itself on its own trail, and I just tried to snort wheeze, and yeah, that one just bolted. I mean, it's hard to read what's the deer's mind at that point, but usually I've seen like snort wheeze kind of bring a deer closer, because usually there's a fight sequences kind of, or something's happening, and he's able to kind of come check it out. Maybe there's two bucks I'm trying to imitate with a doe.
Yes.
That didn't work out very well though. But.
Do you ever use decoys?
I have used decoys. The last time I used a decoy, it really burnt me. I probably had a 160-inch deer come in, and the decoy was set up in a low spot, and what happened with that is it surprised the deer. And I think decoys are very effective, especially flat ground if you're trying to bring deer over to a certain corner. But for that situation, I was in a tree stand, and the buck was coming right to my rattling. I had a doe behind me to try to get this deer onto property I was supposed to be hunting. And he saw that decoy and backed out of there very quickly. So I'm a little bit hurt towards decoys.
Why, was it a doe or a buck decoy?
It was a doe decoy.
A doe decoy.
Yeah.
And he got nervous by that.
Yeah,
and I've seen that too.
Yeah, I think it was just he was coming up over a hill, looked down, and I think he was just kind of like coming, like on a mission, and then was just like startled, but there's a doe there. I mean, I think if there was a real doe, it would have been more natural smelling or something that he would have not have been surprised, but for a foreign object like a decoy was, it just spooked him.
Yeah, that's interesting, because you watch videos where guys use decoys and they work really well, but you don't know if that's 1 out of 100 or how many it is. Like my cousin Kubi, I did a lot of hunting with him, and he loved using decoys. He used buck and doe decoys, and that guy had tremendous luck bow hunting with decoys, right?
Was it on flat terrain?
Yeah, wherever he stuck a decoy would come up, and I mean, you've seen it before, but he even had bucks come up and mount his decoy. You know what I mean? Yeah, he had tremendous luck that way, and I do the same thing as you. I bring out a decoy, it would get spooked, and I throw the decoy in the back of my truck, and I wouldn't bring it out for the rest of the season, right? Yeah. So I was just curious about your experience.
Yeah, I think it's a specific situation. I think a friend of mine had some recent luck, and I think now if you're using buck decoys specifically, especially if you're rattling, usually that's indicating there's a hot doe nearby, bringing in bucks from the sound. They see a buck, they usually come around downwind side. and then hopefully offer you a shot. But yeah,
I agree to that now. And we're moving into the latter part of November, which traditionally is when I've heard that buck decoys do work. So so I'm going to we do have some up at my place. We're gonna try that and see if we get some good footage of that and see what happens. But yeah, that's just my curiosity on that. But as far as game calls go, you figure like that buck that you snort wheeze took off. Did you see him again after that?
That time he took off, I've seen that deer I think within 4 times within 40 yards. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good indicator, because I think if you're sitting there and it's like, oh, he's gone, it's over. But I think this is the time of year where you can get away with stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That scent of a doe is much stronger, I think, than what has been, ingrained in some of these bucks' mind. I think it's kind of overridden by the scent of a woman, if you will.
Yeah.
And now I think, they could easily come back. But
So what is your favorite kind of call sequence that you like to use that you've
I
had
mean-
most luck? Do you use the can call at all?
I haven't used the can call at all. I don't even carry it with me anymore. That being said, I had a client the other day, brought in a little buck, saw it, and did a little can, that
just a
doe
doe
bleed.
bleed,
Yeah,
right.
and it worked great. I'm very paranoid with rattling, especially if I'm in a bush area, because I am convinced that a lot of bucks come in that you're not aware of and get busted. And when you're hunting a specific deer, it's very nerve-wracking, rattling, knowing that he's coming, and that if you don't catch him or he catches you making movement, it could be over, right? And so I'm a little bit hesitant. If I see, I won't blind rattle, but if I do see a buck that's kind of cruising nearby, I'll hit the horns and see if he can bring him in, and that's been pretty effective.
Yeah, it has. I remember I shot a 150 whitetail, same way. He was about maybe 150 yards away, walking down this pipeline right away, and I did a sight rattle on
Sure.
him, and it turned, and he walked right in. I took him at like 18 yards, right? So I know what you mean. We do some blind rattling too, but you're right. You got to really be able to see some distance, because they do like to circle downwind of you. So.
Yeah. Have you, when you're grunting, is there anything, like some people talk about like a long kind of bleat compared to like something short burps, but is there something that you've noticed has been better?
I always find like the more real ones I hear, they're usually more of a short burp, right? Like when they're chasing it, though the odd time, like you had on video there, they do a little bit longer ones. So I kind of change it up just depending how aggressive I think that they might be that time of year, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, because I think every situation can be a little bit different.
You betcha.
And it's constantly keeping you on your toes. You're constantly learning, and I think it's really nice to have yourself and other people that have hunted, I think, probably longer than I've been around.
Oh yeah, since when Moses was walking this earth, that's when I first picked up my bow.
No, I think it's just helpful to be able to just banter and talk, because there's a lot of different options and things to do. Welcome back to the Bowzone. Wrapping up here, there is a lot of cool takeaways from watching Logan's different setup, watching Kevin kill, watching yourself kill, even Blair St. Martin do his kill. There's a lot of different takeaways. I mean, I think when it comes to tree stands, I mean, it's one tree, and we think about the luck factor involved when it comes to hunting a mature whitetail. And you do all this research, you do all your scouting, you set up your tree stand. When it comes to your first little bit of November, we've kind of touched on a few things, how it changes as the season goes on. Are you changing your stand from where you were November 1st to where you might be now this last week, or November 19th, and this last 10 days of the season? Is there a change that you might do?
Yeah, we do that. We have in our area we have some permanent stands we set up, like
Sure.
like ladder stands, whatever. And then we'll have some we primarily hunt in September and October and in November. And then we have some ones we call floater stands, where we'll just have that strap-on steps and hang on. We'll hang based on where cameras or our own eyesight are seeing. If we're sitting in a stand and we're seeing that deer are crossing quite often 80, 90 yards from us, we'll make that move, because there's usually some reason why they're doing that, and it varies from year to year, right? And another thing that you maybe haven't touched on is how high the tree stands are. We always make fun of
Ryan,
because
have
these are
to.
basically 4 feet off the ground. But
Well, it's a high chair is what it is.
it is. Yeah. But he's been very effective shooting out.
I know. I mean, I want to bash him, but he's killed
Yeah.
a lot of nice bucks from
Yeah.
these stands that you could probably jump out of.
Yeah, and it keeps his nerves down. You want to get anxiety. You get anxiety, big buck come in.
You're not
you
gonna
see one
kill.
anxiety, you're
Yeah.
gonna fall off a tree, right? So yeah, so we do use some ladder stands that vary from 15 to say 17 feet. So, but we usually put all our stands roughly around that height, 15 to 18 feet in the air. I don't know what height you usually do, but that's kind of what we do. And we usually find, like you saw that on my kill, I was able to get away with a lot of movement on that, and that was a 17-foot high stand, like to the base of the to the seat. So you want to be up enough so it's really not too close to the ground if you are. But I don't know how high do you usually sit your stands?
I mean, mine. I have a safety line that you're climbing up that you attach to, and those are 20 feet.
Yeah.
And usually I put that at top of me, just above my head, and then by the bottom, I would say my stand is probably close to that 18 to 22 feet, depending, because I like having a lifeline.
Like to have it,
yeah, I like having a lifeline, and that's kind of a good indicator of how high it is.
How high you put them up there.
Yeah, I mean, I did have one once that was like pushing 30 feet. Yeah, it was scary. It really was. I was doing it because I wanted to see over this hill. And I remember Gunther came and looked at it. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Man, I'm trying to see over this hill." He goes, "Well, just go up on the hill then." Maybe not the smartest, but the lifeline wasn't even tall enough. You'd climb up like 5 steps and then attach to your lifeline.
Yeah.
Probably not the smartest thing to do. But.
That is funny because where my son Taylor was on the show, he has lifelines in all his stands now. And then, but it's funny, there's one stand he has, and we call it the Louis stand because at one time Louis DeBrush used to hunt there.
Oh, yeah.
It is the highest stand I've ever
Really
gone to. Yeah, he liked the high stands. And Taylor put a lifeline on it, and it's probably almost like enough to hold one of those cable towers. That's how long it is. But it's funny, I get in that stand, and I don't usually get nervous in stands, but even with a lifeline strapped to that tree sitting in a stand, it's a big stand, it's high. So I'm not sure if you've had Louis on the show before, but I don't know if he still does that, but he seemed to like to put him up quite high. But he is a good point. When you sit in that stand, the deer never look that high. I don't think their necks bend that high.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. But it is effective. But some people aren't comfortable at that height.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I think you got to go what's effective. But it is interesting using different cameras, and we've been using a lot of the Moultrie trail cameras.
Oh,
and
they're
then
very good.
Going off of what you then know later in November, and you're just doing a quick mobile setup, moving your stand, moving those pegs, and going up. Because I saw Logan, he was talking about that, how he was doing a quick change because of the new recent information, right? And I think it's easy to get set, hey, unless you have a bread and butter stand, this is what works, but being able to adapt and change, as the season progresses.
Do you have a bread and butter stand, would I say?
I mean, the one stand
story time?
Dude, I mean, I killed 3 days after I hit it. And then this year I've passed some bucks within shootable distance. And it's an easy walk in too. I mean, I've had some stands that takes you 20 minutes to walk in, and this one's about 2 minutes from after I feed the cats, give them some cat treats, and then I can walk to the stand. It's only about 2 minutes, so that's kind of a nice one. But yeah, I mean, then it's important too. We talk about this with even clients or anybody. If the more time you sit in a stand, the more you get to understand even deer activity around you. You get to know the trails, you get to see how they move. But if you are hopping from stand to stand, you don't get to know the way they move, and that can be the difference from seeing a big buck, getting your bow ready, getting your cameras ready, and then hopefully making that shot. But that's it for us here, guys. We're still hunting. November 19th. We got guys in the stands. I haven't tagged out. Logan hasn't tagged out. Gunther hasn't tagged out. Louis hasn't tagged out. I mean, maybe Jason Moss might be back. I don't know. I mean, he has suffered a loss. But stay tuned, guys. Coming up, next episodes, you're going to see who ends up killing.
Bowzone, a How to Hunt series powered by Argo, is brought to you by Argo XTV, Go Anywhere. Escape Trailer, built for you. Zeiss, confidence in the toughest conditions. And these fine sponsors.